Bum 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 bum. The Peter Dislike Show. Bum 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 bum. So tomorrow is Yom Kippur, and I'm not really Jewish, but I work with a lot of people who are Jewish. It gives me an opportunity to network with people when I go on the dry fast. Will be my third time doing it. I wish more people would do it, though, not necessarily because of religious reasons. I want you to stop and think about what the biggest benefit I get every year at Yom Kippur is, or more generally, anytime I go on a fast, right? I'll let you think about that. I fast 16 hours almost daily, unless I am sick or something like that. Once a while, whether by choice or because of circumstance, sometimes I fast 40 some hours. Lately, it's been happening a lot more because I work with toxic metals and I can't really eat, and sometimes I don't have time to wash myself. It's just a huge mess sometimes. But on the bright side of that, it forces me to fast 50 some hours without even thinking about it sometimes. You get so used to the idea that I hardly have time to get to my lead project or arsenic project or some of the carbothermal reductions that might belch up toxic gases. And just that becomes kind of the center of your life, and food just has to make its way around it sometimes, right? You get so used to that you don't even think about fasting anymore. Uh, but one thing I really love about fasting 40 some hours or even 24 hours is that it makes food that much more precious when you get back to it. Almost as precious as some of the metals that I'm working with, right? It turns food from lead into gold when you fast 20 some hours, right? You appreciate it. It's not just a background activity. The last thing you want to do is for food to fall into the background activity category and everything to flow on top of it, right? So, for example, I was just talking to one of my students at office hours. He brings in his computer keyboard. It's a disaster. The amount of food debris on it. He opens his backpack. It's a disaster. There's probably moldy food in there. I hardly even want to look at it. And that was me just 4 years ago. Right. I want people to appreciate food. Once upon a time, being hungry literally meant you had nothing to eat, right? Nowadays, it means that your eating activities are interrupted by your favorite food being sold out, right? Nowadays, that qualifies as hunger, right? Look it up. Look it up. I'm not joking about that. The definition of hunger in the United States, right? It's a very different definition than hunger in a third world country or even a second world country, right? Over there, people appreciate food for what it is, especially religious people who fast from time to time. I wish more people would do it. Now, unfortunately, a lot of people don't think twice about it. So the other thing you need to abstain from the food and even liquids, right? Too many Americans don't appreciate that at the touch of a lever we have clean drinking water, right? And I want you to stop and appreciate that, right? I want people to appreciate their sexual behaviors as well, right? So the other thing you have to abstain from is sex, right? I was just at an event the other day, and this girl that I had known for less than 2 weeks, so it sounds like she's interested in me in a sexual way. Right? That was very devastating. I had hoped to look for a life partner. I think if we abstain from sex every once in a while, right? It doesn't have to be on Yom Kippur. See, the whole benefit of Yom Kippur is to appreciate what you have, right? I know that's not the statement of most Jewish people, but I think that's the biggest benefit. And you don't have to do it on Yom Kippur, right? You could do it every week if you wanted to, right? Just have a little bit of a mental reset, right? I prefer to do it on different anniversaries of my life. Now, Yom Kippur is all about death as well. And I actually like the idea that one day when the time calls for it and I need to die for some reason, I could just starve myself to death, right? So I was uh, my ex-girlfriend had a great grandfather who was 92 years old and living in pain all the time, taking 20 different medications. During COVID, he was worried about if his medications would be available. He said he could die without them. And both me and my girlfriend thought, well, if you could die without them, maybe that's not the end of the world, right? You're not living a life with them, right? And then it was around the same time that I started to do intermittent fasting, and one day, the reason I am the Peter Dislike Show is that I speak my mind a little bit too freely. I have to learn to do it a little more judiciously. But one day, I was talking to him and I said, if things get really tough, you could always just stop eating. And he got very upset at that remark. And he got really upset at that. I was serious about that. So he ended up with 2 extra years of pain before ultimately going anyway. And he had all that pain and had nothing to show for it, right? And when he could have had one last glorious fasting probably would have done a whole number to some of his ailments as well. But I love the idea of fasting to death for multiple reasons. First, it's very nonviolent, right? You're not taking a gun, you're not jumping off of a bridge, you're not taking a poison, and it's very nonviolent. It's something that could happen to anybody. Anybody could run out of food for whatever reason, right? Famines happen all the time. It doesn't feel very sinful, and also you got a good number of weeks to change your mind if it were to come to that. So it's somewhat revocable, right? So I love that idea of one day. I call it a grand finale fast. I think I want to do that someday if it were to come to it. Anyways, enjoy your Yom Kippur. Try to learn to appreciate everything you're abstaining from tomorrow. This is the Peter Dislike Show. Bum 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 bum. The Peter Dislike Show. Bum 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 bum